So today we'll be making the Japanese Yamato. Ever since my D-Day video where I had that battleship in the video, a lot of people have been requesting that I make a ship or a big boat. So a few months ago I made a poll on what ship I should make, and the Yamato won by a lot. So that's why I'm making the Yamato. A lot of people also wanted me to make the Bismarck, and a lot of people commented on about it. But since it didn't win the vote, I'll be making that another time. The Japanese Yamato was a battleship used by the Japanese in World War II. The Yamato was among one of the biggest battleships ever built in history. It was also one of the most powerful. So without any further ado, let's get into the tutorial. The first thing to do is to get a reference source. For reference, I used this 3D model of the Yamato that I found online, and it's free. To make the Yamato, I first trace out the shape of the deck onto a piece of cardboard. This will help me get the shape of the Yamato correct. To draw the Yamato's deck, I got this image from the internet. It's just a top-down view of the Yamato. If the piece of cardboard isn't big enough for the drawing, just extend it by gluing on another piece. The next step is to make the hull of the ship. To do this, I outlined the deck with cardboard. I also used my hands to bend and warp the cardboard to make it more round like an actual ship is. I also used folded paper to make the front part of the ship. Next, I glue on the bottom of the ship. This is easily done by gluing on flat pieces of cardboard and trimming them out. And also, I stuff in a bunch of leftover trash into the ship's hull. This is because there's a lot of space in there and it's pretty hollow, so it's a good place to just store leftover trash. Although this is a little time consuming, it does make the ship a lot heavier and it gets rid of your trash without going to the trash can. Since the bottom of the Yamato is red, to make a clear distinction between the red and the gray, and to make the bottom of the ship rounder, I use this paper mache kind of technique. This is where you get some white glue and some paper towels. You put some glue onto the boat and then put the paper towel on and cover it with more glue. Since the paper towel is more flexible than other materials, it will bend and actually look smooth when you're done. I use this technique to cover the parts where I think the red will be. Once the glue has dried, I do this quick little step where I cut out pieces of paper to cover the area where the gray will be instead of the brown deck. Time for the harder parts. It's time to make the stuff on the ship. I first want to mark the area where I'm going to place all the stuff. The middle part of the battleship has a bunch of these turrets and headquarters stuff, I don't know, a lot of building stuff. But it would be impossible to recreate all of that perfectly, at this size at least. So I'll start off with making a cardboard base, which should look like a little weird oval shape. Then I add these side pieces as well. After that I can use different materials to add on different shapes to recreate the ship. There's no really way to explain how to do this, I just use different materials and follow the 3D model. Some materials that I use to make this are paper, cardboard, some broken pencils, and that rubber thingy that are on pencils to give you more grip. When you're done with the middle part of the Yamato, you can make the Yamato's large turrets. Here you can see how I made the turret. I also make these little tiny small turrets that are for AA guns. These are made by dropping a piece of hot glue onto a non-stick surface and sticking 2 paper clips into it. When it dries, you should have this small turret. I glue these onto the middle part of the ship, and I glue on the other larger turrets. Now on to the detail adding phase. In this phase, I just add on pieces of scraps or materials to make the ship look more complicated. Now the ship is done. All that's left is to paint it. I first paint everything gray except for the part where it's supposed to be red. Since the ship is so complicated, it takes a smaller brush. When the gray coat is dried, I paint on the brown deck coat. Take note that painting on the deck takes a lot of precision. Finally, I add on the red coat. The red coat is just a desaturated red. And now you're basically done. So thank you all for requesting and voting on the ship. If you want to vote for future projects, you can always visit the community tab on my channel. And thank you all for watching.